Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so it's just no one's talking. Got it.
Is someone recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Haydar.
Hello.
Hello.
So, can you hear me? Everyone can hear me? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Someone is recording. Is good. Kevin is simply recording. Okay. Let me take this out. Okay. And close. Okay. So in the previous session, we had some prerequisite of the Java programming. Today, we are going to go a little bit further deep inside the Java. We may discuss about the conditional logic, looping, and arrays. And okay, we are going to give you some basic looping and defining the arrays. And then we are going to introduce the for each loop and then using the switch statement. And before I go further, let's discuss about the email that I sent you before. Okay. Let me. No one can see the things. Okay. Okay, I sent you an email via my Google Drive for each lecture. At the first of the lecture or at the end of it, doesn't matter. Please come to this spreadsheet and put a 1 under the lecture column. So today is the lecture 3. We are in the, I think, May 12. And put a 1. That means that you're attending this lecture. And in the lab assignments, for each lab assignment, we have a 1 column for each lecture. For example, we have another assignment today. We have, for example, 2 assignments today, lab 1 and lab 2, and we have lecture 03-lab 01 and lab 02. So for each of the assignments that you have done, please, instead of putting confirm in the chat box, put a 1 over this cells so I will know that you have done it, so I can track it better. And everyone whose access ID is not appearing in this spreadsheet, please fill the access ID for me, so I will have the track of you.
give us-
I don't have edit access to the file.
Yeah, it's the same thing with me. I don't have access.
If you go to your email instead of just copying the link from Canvas, there should be a here button. Click that here button. It'll allow you to actually edit. You have to go through the email, not the Canvas link.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Please, before starting anything, go to your email and do the attendance first. So I will make sure that everyone are in the same page with me, so I can go further. When I see the 1 over the spreadsheet now, in that time, I know that I can start my lecture. Thank you.
Professor, it might help just to speed things up here. If anyone who can't do it, they can just tell you their name and you can put a 1. So we're not sitting here for.
Actually,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
don't want to put a 1 instead of someone else. Someone prompt over the chat box that can someone put 1 for me. It's part of the attendance in the class. Everyone should put the 1 for herself or himself. So if someone is editing this spreadsheet, I will have the log of it. So please do not put a 1 instead of someone else. So let's do it yourself. Yeah, I can go further. It's a good suggestion. But because if you go to the lectures lab assignments, if someone cannot access it, I don't want you to lose any grade. So it's better just to attend it first. So we will have to track everyone.
For sure. All right, I guess we'll just wait then.
Yeah.
I add on it. So is that supposed to have the save automatically?
Mm-hmm.
It will save automatically.
So it is saved automatically. Yeah. You are in C2, I think. Okay.
For the
You're breaking up.
Yep, you're breaking up. I'm sorry, we couldn't track you. What did you say? And please inform me if my network connection is not working very good. Inform me at the lecture so you won't miss anything.
Hey, Professor, will there be a syllabus posted in Canvas or anything?
It's posted.
It's posted, yeah.
You have to go to files and then under, like in the directory, you'll find syllabus folder.
Wonderful, thank you.
And another question, everyone has the same package hierarchy like me in the project that you are developing, because from the next session we are going to put our codes under GitHub, so it will be best for everyone to have it, because after that I push my code over the GitHub, you should push your codes over the GitHub for your own packages. So please be in the same page with me when I'm coding, so and use the same convention when I'm coding, so there won't be any like conflicts with our codes, so do not code with convention. use
So-
our class. Yeah.
We're gonna upload all our labs to GitHub.
Yep. Not only our lab, everything that I'm asking you, we are going to put our assignments and our codes on GitHub, because I want you to have a good example of having a big project that contain so many files, and how to configure that project. It will be a good experience for everyone in the class. So to contribute in the code together. Although this code is not very like production code, but it's a good experience on how to push it, how to pull it, how to put a request on it, how to commit our code, what is the save changes, what is the staging, everything. That will be good for you, and I think that it's a good experience. If
Will
you're
we-
not learning it in this class, you should learn it like on YouTube, and like you will be in difficulty, believe me. It's better than just learn it now.
will we
Because
be-
go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There are a bunch of people who are having trouble. They just can't edit the document at all.
So when you open the link, up on top when it says open with, hit open with Google Sheets.
Yes, it should be open with Google Sheet. What's the problem?
Apparently people did that, but it still doesn't let them edit for some reason.
If you're opening it if you're opening it in the Google Sheet, you will be good, because you don't need anything else. If you're opening in Chrome or anything else, it doesn't matter. Any browser will work, because the Google Sheet is like HTML5 and will work with every browser that is more than IE8. So anyone has problem, please confirm that you have problem in the chat box, so we will have a track of how many people have problem. Sign in your Google ACC that open the Outlook. It's very easy thing to do, I think. And it just
Is column D for today?
I'm sorry?
Column D, is that for today's lab 2, so we put in a 1 after class?
No, column D, yes. The column D is for today.
And
So,
for the lab
Someone yes. If someone is filling the column D, for example, D2, it should be, I'm sorry, Mr. Hawk, I think. Mr. Hank. How can I spell it? I don't know how to spell it. So hard to spell it. It's like my name. So hard to spell. For example, take Arif as an example. If in cell D4, Arif has filled it, and I can see that it is Arif Hassan. So in cell, for example, D9, Dylan, Mr. Figura should fill it, that he fill it, and all of these cells should be filled with the owner. So we will have the track of the owner without any difficulty. It's a very good thing using the technology.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that the lab assignment tab today is the lab assignment. We are lecture 3, lab 2 in the lab assignment.
The lab assignment is the C and D. For the lab assignment is the C and D. So don't fill the lab assignment now, because we didn't do anything. Okay.
Okay.
If you are filling one, for example, here, it means that you've done it before that I told you.
Okay. Yeah, I'll delete that out.
Yeah, it's okay. But okay, I think that everyone filled it. Nope. Ashraf, Erika, Isham, Jamila, Mirza Saim, Rafi, and Sam and Shaima. Some problem? Having problem? Let me. Okay, yes, that's it. Open it in the Google Drive. I am signed into my Google account. Okay, go to Google, and I'm still unable to edit. Okay, you shall. I think it's better that most of the people now sign it, so it means that there isn't any problem in our mechanism. If there is some problem, okay. Yep. Yeah, just you should open the link over your Outlook. It's not a big deal, I think. Okay, let's go further.
Hey, Professor. Before we start the
Go
lecture,
ahead.
could I ask you a couple questions around how we're going to collaborate in GitHub?
Sure.
So I was wondering, are you going to create like a centralized repository that will then fork and make pull requests?
Yes, something like that. Yes. Like this, for example, today
Are we gonna be using like git.wayne, or are we gonna be using GitHub?
We will be using the GitHub because I want you to contribute in an open source code that everyone is going to see your pushing. I mean your commits. Okay.
Okay.
So it's a good experience to develop an open source code. So not only that you are going to code for your own class, you are contributing in a code that someone else, for example, have some problem in looping or anything else. They are going to refer to your code as a best practice because your code is going to be a good convention, okay? So just look at yourself. We all using the GitHub code, okay? So why all of the other people don't use our code? It's a good example. But just take it now, not a like 18-year-old guy is coming to our code, like a 6-year-old kid is coming to our code. It's not bad. We are contributing something for the society. Okay.
Excuse me.
Go
For the attendance sheet, will you be sending us this every time, every session? Like you'll be emailing us the attendance sheet every session, or do we just have to find it in our Google Sheets?
You can just come to this. You can just come to this spreadsheet every lecture, and just fill your own place in the lecture. So the link won't be changed. The thing that you should change and modify is just yourself for each lecture.
Okay.
You can add it to your
Okay.
Google Drive or just bookmark it too.
All right. Thanks.
Always.
Excuse me,
Go ahead.
are you going to post lecture on Canvas?
The lecture is already published.
On where?
You mean the recording?
Not the recording. The recording is on the Microsoft Teams.
Do you mean the slides?
Yes.
The slides are
Yeah,
already posted under files.
Yes, the slides are already posted on the Canvas for
So you
this
go to
lecture.
files, lecture slides, and then they'll be in there.
Okay. Let's see.
Just checked a few minutes ago. It doesn't even have file there. The file for the file icon is not even there.
The file icon. Let me show.
So it's on the sidebar.
Let me.
Oh, it's under the bottom. Okay.
Just follow the screen. You will find it now. Okay. Here is the file.
I find it. It's just a different order than I used to. It's just in the bottom of the. Thank you. I find it.
Okay. So I think everyone has signed in for attendance. Is good. Okay. let's go further. Today we are going to go further in the Java, as I told you. So the conditional logic. In the conditional logic, we have 4 different bullets here. The relational operator, conditional assignments, the if assignment, and the logical operators. So for each of them, I'm going to go further and see what's the order. The relational operators. The relational operators are like in the table that you can see over here. They are like greater than. They are just like Boolean logic that we can perform this operator on the primitive data types. So we talk about the primitive data types, the integer, the double, the integer, the floating points, the character, the and the booleans in the previous session. So the greater than is not available for the boolean, but for the character and the floating point and the integer, it is available. For example, 4 or 5 is more than 4 is like a valid statement in the Java. And the next one is greater than or equal to. We have, it is valid for the integer and the floating point, and it is valid for the character. So you can see that the chronologically, for example, C is bigger than A because in the topological sort, I don't know, in the data structure class, you already have studied the topological sorting. So in the topological sorting, we have the C is more than A. For example, in the order of the alphabetic, C is bigger than A, and the A is equal to A, and it is not available, this operator, for the Boolean. And we have the less than, again, it's not available for the Boolean, but it's available for the character and the integer. Less than or equal to, it's available for integer and the floating points, and it is available for the character sets as well, but not for the Boolean example. And equal to, that we use the double equal sign. For example, 5 is equal. If you want to say that 5 is equal to 5, we use double equal sign here. And it is available for the character, and it is available for the Boolean too. For example, true is equal to true and false is equal to false. And we have the negation operator that is not equal to. We use the exclamation mark and equal sign that will be the flag of inequality. For example, 4 is not equal to 5, and A is not equal to C, the characters, and true is not equal to false. But here we have some conditional assignments. So what is a conditional assignment? So it assigns a value to a variable based on the result of a condition. And the prototype of this conditional assignment is like this. For example, if the condition is true, the true value will be assigned to the result. If it is not true, the false value will be assigned to the result, like this. Take an integer like value 1 is equal to 7, an integer value 2 that is equal to 5. We have the conditional statement over here. We want to calculate the value that is max. If v1 is more than v2, so the v1 is the max, put the v1 in the value max. Otherwise, put the value 2 in the vmax, and then just print out the value max over here. And another example, take students are like 30 and as a float, and take the room is 4 as a float. So the student per room, we want to calculate the number of students per room. We will check if the room is equal to 0, then put the 0 in the student per room. Otherwise, we will put the students slash room. It means that we divide the number of the students by the rooms and take the number of the students that will be in the room. And it will give you a floating number again. So then we will print out the students per room result. Okay. And okay, let's just develop a little bit here. Just like the previous lectures. Okay, can you see it? Okay, I see. According to our previous convention, we are adding another lecture package over here, lecture 03. And according to the previous lecture, again, I'm going to add a package under my name, HM. According to the previous lecture, again, I'm going to put another source code for myself. So it will be the lecture. The class will start with a capital letter, lecture 03 source. Okay. Okay, I have a package name lecture 03 and a class name lecture 03 source. And we need a main over here. Okay, I will give you another. Okay. Okay. So for example, take the conditional statements. We have the int v1 that is equal to 7. Int v2 that is equal to 5. We want to get the int vmax that is equal if v1 is greater than v2. I check the equal to, put the v1 in the vmax, otherwise put the v2 in the vmax, then okay, vmax, all right, Control Shift F10, Kotlin is building it. Now compiling, then building, then parsing to Java. Okay, now we have the 7 as a result. Now think about that v2 is like 10. Now we should have the 10 as a result. Okay, we have the 10 now here. Let's go a little bit further. Our students example. Students number, we have 40, for example. We have another float that is students rooms that is equal to like 4. And now we are going to students floats, students per room. Okay. If the room is equal to 0, then just add 0 to it. Otherwise, just divide the students by rooms. And put in the students per room, then just print out the students. Okay, now run it. We will have 10 students per room, and let's put some like 35. You should have a fractional number now. I have 8.75 students. Okay, it's just an example. So after the conditional statement, we have the if-else statement.
Sorry, could you go back to? I wasn't done writing. Thank you.
Okay. So for the if-else statement, the if-else statement is a conditional if. So an if statement conditionally executes. We have a statement like if the condition is true, we are going to execute the true statement. Otherwise, we are going to execute the false statement. The optional else clause execute alien statement when the if condition is false. So take for example the previous example. Now we are going to develop it by like if then if else statement, and instead of just if else statement, if else state. Okay. We have the end over here, so I'm not going to define them again. If v1 is more than or equal to v2, else v1 is bigger than v2, else we are going to v2 v1 is less than or equal to v2. So this was for conditional if, conditional statement. Okay. For conditional statement. Now we should run it. And we will have that the v1 is 7, v2 is 10, and v1 is less than or equal to v2. So it's executing the true statement of it. So now let's change it. For example, to 5, it should execute the else statement. v1 is bigger than v2. Okay. Further. The next module will be the chaining if-else statements. So sometimes we just don't have like two statements that we want to calculate or evaluate their value, if they are true or false. We will have different conditions. For example, for the previous condition, that we developed a code that was just dealing with the bigger than or less than or equal. But what happened if we want just to check the equality of it, and we want to do something further for that equality? So let's in this situation, we use the chaining if-else statement. If-else statement chained together are evaluated in order until one is true. So, for example, check this. If condition 1 is true, the true statement 1 is going to execute. Else, if the condition 2 is true, true statement 2 is going to execute. Otherwise, if condition n is true, the true statement n is going to execute. Otherwise, if all of the previous condition is not true, the else statement is going to execute as a false statement. Just check the previous example. So instead of putting the equality to it, we are going to evaluate if v1 is less than v2. So just print that v1 is less than v2, and for the last condition, we can just develop the equality. v1 is equal to v2, and as you can see that we change the code, the v1 is bigger than v2. So instead of just losing this code, let's just copy it, so we will have the track of our lesson. Chaining.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
So the else if v1 less than v2. So if the last one else, if I change to else if v1 equal to v2, it will be the same thing, right? The same result.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same thing, but it's just a redundant code. So you should. It will basically is true, but it will decrease the readability of the code. I mean, you should code as much less as you can. Okay, so you can put an if over here. So it will do the v1 is equal to v2. It's true, but it's not very regular to code like this. So let's have this, and okay.
What if you change the else if the second else if to just if? Would it be still running the code if it's true? Or running both? The first if and the second if, and the last one to else.
You mean the first? You mean this?
Yeah, if we say in the first if is if the v1 greater than v2, and the second is if v1 less than v2, else, yeah, whatever.
You should just up in either way. There are so many ways to develop this statement. There won't be any problem to develop it like that, but you should just change the statements for the conditions. Okay? You should just change the statement for the condition. So for example, if you are here, you are evaluating that if v1 is equal to v2, so you should put that v1 is equal to v2, and the else statement of us when the v1 is less than v2, and we don't need any if statement over here again, because a value either is equal, less than, or equal. So we are not going to develop the last one, because we know already it's the last condition. Okay. Yeah, but we can develop it like that too. Oh, we don't. Normally we don't. Let's go to the block statement. So a block statement groups statements into a compound statement. It means that, as you can see in our code, instead of developing just like this, so this code has just one statement. I have a habit to put brackets over the everywhere, so because you won't miss the track of the code. So if you are going to execute more than one statement under your condition, you should put the block statement for your condition. So for example, think that we are going to check the difference of two values, and we are going to print the difference of two values. So we need more than one statement over there, instead of just printing that value 1 is bigger than, value 2 is bigger, or the value 1 is equal to. So we need the difference for the further operations, for example. So we will develop it in the block statements like this. Okay. Check this code. So I'm just copying it and block statements. I'm adding another float named diff, and I'm changing this code to this. So please notice that how I'm refactoring the code from the previous code. It will be beneficial for you too, because most of the time when the people are going to modify someone else's code, will be stuck because they don't have the track of how to do this refactoring. So the v1 is equal to v2. So now we are going to find out that how much is the difference, and we don't want to print out the negative value over here. So if v1 is v2, then the diff will be the v1 is minus v2. We have the diff value, and okay, and the difference. Again, it's better to develop it like this, but that statement is not dependent to this statement, and put a space between the lines. Then we have the same structure. So someone is going to read our code, will find out what's happening in our code. It's just this, v2 minus v1. And we have the same code over here again, and we will have for the last statement, v1 is equal again the system.print output. Okay, so let's run it. v1 is bigger than v2, 2, and the difference is 2. But let's change the value now. Should be v2 is bigger than v1, and the difference is 3. So it's coming to the second block statement. And now let's put the values equal to together. And we have the 0 now. So let's go a little bit further. in terms of clean coding, okay, the lesson here was block statement, but think about that it wasn't a block statement. I told you that, okay, we have the same mechanism for the printing, same mechanism for the printing, same mechanism for the printing, and the same mechanism for differentiating, okay? So this differentiating will be changed in two different statements. So we cannot take a factor out of this code. Just think it like a math calculation. So here is V1 is minus V2. Here is V2 minus V1. So we cannot take a factor out of this code. But in this in the three different statements, in the three different blocks, we have the same system that out that print diff. So why can't we take them out? One of them out at the end of the code. Then just delete this statements. So instead of having like redundant code, we are just coded for one time, the same results. But the important thing is here that the diff is out of the scope of the if statement. So we have the diff value out of the if statement. But suppose that we define it in the scope of this code. So we should define the diff again and again and again, and we should have the difference then, and we couldn't take the factor out of this. So by default, we develop it in the right way. So let's go further.
Does that diff act as a global variable?
I'm sorry?
No, the diff it's not global unless it's defined outside of the class, where like everything has access to it outside of the class. It's just local to the class.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yep. So this type of variables that we define in the class, they are public for the class. They are not public for the class. They are just public for the method. Okay. So the modifier of them for the value 1, value 2, Vmax, and diff, it's just they are. So we have the definition of the public, protected, and private for the next session. I'm going to go through them. So just think then that these variables are public for just the method. So the method can read it in all of the after that is defined. We have that variable from now on, just like the previous language like C, C++, and the other one.
For sure. So could you declare something on line 2 then, and then you could use it in a different class in the same C or whatever Java file?
Yes, we can. We can. For example, if I just define this,
like on line 2.
If we just define it in here,
you
like
can't
this,
define anything outside of the class.
Gotcha.
But you shouldn't
you
define
could,
it.
but I don't know Java's syntax for that, but
for sure,
typically
yeah,
Java.
Yes, we can define the things out of the class, but it is not safe to define this thing out of the classes. Okay, if you want to define any variable, it should be in the classes first. If you want to put it in the static or other modifiers, so this is the way that we define a variable out of in the class. Okay, but this is not the right way to define a variable in the class too. But just for example, so I have the value max over here, but it is a property of the class. Now it's not a property, it's not a variable for the method. So for example, I can access it like this dot vmax. Okay, it's not initial, this dot vmax. So here you can see that it is a variable out of the class, and my variable is not defined over here. So if I take it just like this, and we'll put it like this, I can just copy it. So now I have a variable over the class.
Understood. Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
I have a question
Go
about
ahead.
chaining. What's the benefit of chaining? And if we're just trying to reduce the amount of code we have, why wouldn't we chain statements exclusively?
What will be the advantage of the chaining if you want to reduce the code in one line, you mean?
I guess I could summarize it as why wouldn't we chain statements all the time versus doing,
Readability.
is that
So
okay?
It doesn't, you're not gonna have like, you're not gonna end up like, for like an example like this, it's hard to make a distinction because it's just really minimal.
yes, it is minimum. So you know, it's a very, very minimum. But for the demo that I'm going to give you, for example, in the calculator engine, you will find out that we cannot chain everything together and reduce it. Okay, so sometimes we need some block statement, and the mechanism that we are going to define is not going to be abbreviated in just one statement, two statements. Okay, it will be bigger. So we need the chaining. And again, we need if-then statement. If the if-then statement is like from the same variable, we need some. We can develop with a switch statement. But if we are dealing with more than one variable, for example, take that there was another variable like v3, like here, and like v3 is not equal to 0, we could not chain all of the statement together in like in one if statement. Okay, so we need more like if then a statement for, because when we add another boolean to our if statements, we are going to add like 2 to the power of we are going to change our space to times 2. For example, if you have 2 variable boolean variable, we have 4 different statements. If we have 3 different boolean, if we are going to compare them together, we need 8 statements and so on. So we cannot change everything together. It depends on the code that we are developing. You will find out like further when we go to the class. So,
Okay.
all right. Give the nested if statement over here. Okay. 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 The next statement. So the block statement and the variable scope, as I mentioned in the previous slides, a little bit, we have a variable declared within a block is not visible outside of the block. Okay. Think about this example. For example, think that we have a float students that is 30, a float room that is 44, and if the room is more than 0, we are going to print the number of students, number of rooms, and we are going to find out that how much will be the average number of students in each room. We define a float named average, and we are putting the average in this average float. And then we are going to print the average at the end of the statement. Let's do it and check that what's happening in there. Okay. Okay. I just copy this code. No, let's do it together. and you can develop it together. So I already have the students room over here. So I'm going to put them in the comments. So you can have the log statement and variable scope. So we have a float students is equal 40. We have a float rooms is equal 4. And if rooms, the rooms is more than 0, print the students print the rooms, and then define a variable named average that is the division of students by room, and then we're going to system. Okay. The average here. So you see that the IntelliJ is saying that, okay, you don't have the float average into the scope, okay, but it's going, there isn't any average over this scope. So here is the red, in the red color. So what can we do? Look at the IntelliJ. Create local variable name average. So it can have the average out of it. Bring the float average into the scope. It means that instead of defining over here, just defining in the line 55. Create a field average in the lecture source, as I defined, like the Vmax as a property of the class, or create parameter average. So the 4 different suggestions, and the second suggestion was working for us. The third suggestion will work for us too, and the first one and the fourth one is not working for us. So instead of just using that, so the first suggestion for this, okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
So I'm looking at mine right now, and my my average is red too, but I don't have like the little red light bulb like you do. Is there something that I can do to get that?
It just happens automatically.
You can also press Alt-Enter.
Yeah, but just type Alt-Enter. You and be on the average and press Alt-Enter. Okay, you will find the suggestion.
Question? So if you put into the outside the main function, you put in the class. So it just like you did before, like this dot Vmax. If I'm saying this dot average, the this is not recognized. What's the problem?
The D is not recognized.
It's giving an error for the D's.
Are you saying that average isn't recognized?
Average is you declare outside the main function, and then you use it in the inside the main function. He just showed us to use this dot average But
because
if
it means for don't use that. Don't use that convention that I used it in the like previously in this lecture, because I should teach you some so how to use the property of a class. You need some pre-requirements for that. Okay, I'm not going too deep for that, but just be on the track with me. I will teach you in the next in the upcoming lectures. So you will find out that what's going on there. Okay, just be with
okay,
me and just be patient. I'm going to teach you that too. It's good.
thank you.
But just be in this for this lecture. Yeah. Okay. So just for this, if I just delete this statement from the previous line to this line, we will find out that in this scope, I have the average that is in the scope of the block statement, and I can print it, and there isn't any error. But for here, if I just push Control Shift F10 and run it, you will find an error. Cannot find the symbol. Symbol, which symbol? The variable average. The variable average. Where in the class com CSC3020.lecture03.hm lecture, in which class? Lecture 03 source. So if you are it's another lesson, it's not this lesson. Okay, if you are going to debugging the code, you should study the debug, or you should study the error message. It is going to give you a very good information here. So where 69, 61, in which character? 28. Okay, here is 28. You can see it in the IntelliJ if you are seeing my arrow or my pointer over here. So 61, line 61, character 28, average, cannot find the symbol. What's the problem? I don't have that symbol in this code. What is the symbol? The symbol for the Java is a variable average. It could be a property of another class. It could be a class, a function, anything. But where is it happening? It could be not disk, for example, location. This error could be raised from another class location too. For example, lecture 02 source from here. But now it's here. So we are just tracking it from error. Then after we track it, we double click on the error message. It will take us to the line and the character that is happening. Now we can think about it. But before thinking about it, read at least 10 lines before it and 10 lines after it. So you will find out what's code doing. Instead of just thinking on this line, think in a big picture so you can solve the problem in a better way. Because you may solve this problem and this code will omit like this, but you will raise another error. So if you read the code line 10 line before, 10 line after, if the code is written in a good way, you won't have any problem. But if for a spaghetti code, this solution won't work because it's not practicing the best practice. For a good code, a line of a function will be like 10 to 20, not more than that. So, but just studying 20 lines, you'll find out what's happening. Okay. So now let's Control Shift F10 again. Now you have the average here. The average here, the number of students 40. Now we have the 4, and now we have the rooms number of rooms is 4, and the average number of students in each room is 10. So now we are going to logical operator. We defined in the previous slides, we defined the other operators, the mathematical operators. Now we need some logical operators. The logical operators are 4, like and, and, or, XOR, and negation. So for the and, what resolve to be true? What resolve an AND operator to be true? When we have two true statements, two true Boolean, it will resolve to true. For OR, if we have like a false and a true, if either of the statements are true, we will resolve the OR statement to be a true statement. For the exclusive OR, we just need one of them to be true and the other one should be false. So we need just one true. And for the negation, it will resolve to false. If it executes in any Boolean, it resolves to a false. And for example, take this statement. We have value A that is 20, B that is 14, C that is 4, 5. And this if statement is telling us that if A is more than B and B is more than C, then print a statement for us. So the A is more than B, and again B is more than C. So we can say that the A is bigger than C. So what's happening over here? Is A is more than B? A is 20, B is 40. So we have true over here. Is B more than C2? 14, 5. Yes, it is. So it's true. So both of these statements, I mean the A is more than B and the B is more than C, are true. So the AND will resolve to a true statement. So according to this, here we have a true statement, here we have a true statement. Here in the table, you can see that the true statement and the true statement. So the AND will resolve to be a true. So if this statement, all of this statement is resolved to a true statement, it will print over here the system that out that print line, the A is greater than C. So let's talk about the negation, for example. Think that we have a Boolean that its value is false. Done is equal to false. And we want to print if the done is not true, if the done is not true, so keep going. What does it mean? We want to if we want to resolve this statement to be true, and the done is false. What makes all of this statement to true, to resolve to true? If we just negate it, if we negate the done with negation mark, we will have a true statement. So it's affecting on a false statement. It's affecting on a false statement. The operator makes the statement to a true statement. So all of the statement will be interpreted to true. So we have the system that out that print line, they keep going. So this all of this logical operator will work here. Again, we have conditional logical operator. Again, these conditional logical operator are like the logical operators. So we have a conditional AND that two statements again, and we have a conditional OR that resolves with the false statement again. Okay, what is the difference between them? In here, just think about the second one. Just the OR conditional, it just needs one true statement. If Java is seeing one true statement over all of the other statements, in the condition, it will be interpreted to true. But if it is not, if it hasn't seen a true, it will evaluate all of the statement till end of it. So resolve following conceptual similar rules as non-conditional and an or. Only execute the right side if needed to determine the result. So the and only execute the right side if left side is true. So for example, take this. If this side is true, the Java will go to the next statement to find out the next statement is true or not. If this statement is false, it won't go to the next statement. So you can find the difference between the logical operator and the conditional logical operator in just this. It will execute from right side to left side. In and it needs to be all of the left side should be the right, it should be true. In the right, in the or, all of the left side should be false. If it is true, it won't go further. If here it is false, it won't go further. And it will assign a false statement for the first false, if it see the first false. And it will assign a true if it see the true statement. So let's go to give you an example of this. I think that we don't have enough time. Let's give you a good example. Okay.
I got a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So is exclusive or is it both true? It will become false.
If it is, I'm sorry, I couldn't follow you.
So the logical operators, one of them exclusive or. So
you mean?
Yeah. So if one of them is true, it will be true. If both them true, it will become false. Or
Yeah,
both them false, it will become false too.
No, it won't be false. A false and a true. It will give a one. It will give a true if one of them is false and the other one is false. Is true. Okay. So it needs two different. Because of this, it's exclusive or. It means not. It cannot be both of them cannot be one or both of them cannot be zero. We need one of them to be one and the other one should be zero. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never saw them use this operator exclusive. If later on you can demonstrate that, it would be great. But if not, that's fine too.
Yeah, we are going to choose. So, let's go further to the. Is it clear for everyone this operations? If it is clear, I'm going to give an example over here. Give you a lab assignment. Okay. I just want you to develop an engine for calculation. Like Okay, I want you to develop an engine for the calculation. Okay, I have like two values, value 1 and value 2, and I want to do all the different operators like addition, like minus, division, and take this like subtraction, division, and multiplication, and print each result of them. Print result of each operation. So what's the question? We want to develop a calculator engine. Okay, calculator engine. It will get two values, value 1, value 2. So it is the input. It is two variables. We have 4 different operators in the form of characters. Okay, that is A, S, D, M, and you should use the conditions. If the condition, if for each condition, you will calculate the value for that operation and print the result of that operation. So you at the end of this, you should have 2 lines for value 1, printing value 1 and value 2, and 4 lines for results of each operation. And use the if statements, if statement or if then else statement to develop your code. Is it clear or not?
Wait, so you want 2 values to be inputted, as in number 1 and number 2, and then you want the user to choose the operation, or just print all 4 operations?
No, like this, like this. I just define 2 variables. You just define 2 variables, okay? And yeah. I'm just telling you how to develop the code. Then use the if statement like this to check that which of the operators that you are doing now. For example, if it is A, if it is B, if it is subtraction, multiplication, division, or anything, okay? Then you will do your calculation in the block statements, okay? And then print the result of that operation like this. The result of that operation like this. Choose the operation. So we have 2 different values, value 1, value 2. Then you will find out what is the operation that you are going to do. If the operation is D, for example, it is a division. So you will do a division over here. You will print the division result, and then you have the result. Okay? Is it clear now?
Just one quick question. It all makes sense, but are we doing it so that like we're asking the user what input they want? Is that?
No, I didn't teach you how to get the variable from the user. You should just define it like this: val 1, val 2, and put two number arbitrary.
Oh, okay, okay. So do you want us to pick like Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So you will right click on your IntelliJ IDEA. Right click on your IntelliJ IDEA. Go to new. Go to class. The class name will be the calculator. Okay, engine. Enter. You have a class in lecture 2. Look at me. Com CS3020 lecture 02 dot your access ID. Then you have a class named calculator engine. Develop a main function over here, just like the source code that I developed. Copy the public static main void string over here to this class, close the brace, it will be closed, and develop your own code. You have like, this is 540, 554. 10 minutes is good for this, I think.
It's not going to be an if statement though, is it? I mean, we're just doing simple arithmetic.
It should be an if statement.
And what are the conditions for the if statement?
You want me to develop it for you? I'm going
Yes.
to develop it for you either, but it's a lab assignment, you know.
I mean, first thing that comes to mind is if the denominator is 0. That's something you'd want to check for.
Example, take this. This is the operator, okay? Take this. This is the operator. I'm going to give you a hint over here. Character, operator code, okay? And the operator code will be like an array. But think about it that you have an operator code. Op code. And you have an opcode character. That is like multiplication. If opcode is M, okay? If opcode is M, character is equal to M, do this. Otherwise, do this. So you will have two values, and you have a calculator. We need a calculator engine, okay? So we have a float like val1, as I told you, a float, and val2. I'm not developing. I'm just hinting. So you will put the value for val1 and val2, and you will put the m like this, m ASDM into the opcode, and it should print the result of that operator in the output for me. Okay? Is it clear now?
So does the user select which operation to be done on the values?
Yes.
Okay. How do we get the input from the user?
We are not getting the input from the user. You just put it like this, 10.
Manually put
like
in.
this, like manually. I just needed to do it manually. Very simple.
And so, for example, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask. So I'm trying to check what's it called? If it's none of the operators, just to say invalid operator. It's the error it's giving me is that the and conditional operator cannot be applied to Boolean and character, but my operator is a character, and then I have a character like a string with the letter in it.
No, you can. The conditional operator can work on the character. You can see that this is working. I developed it for you here. You can see it. Yep.
No. What if you do the and symbol? So let's say you do opcode is equal to m and or s. Let's say you know.
No. Don't develop it like that. Just in a simple way. Opcode m, print m. Opcode like s, print m.
I understand that. I'm just asking how you would do that because it's giving me an error. I'm just trying to make a simple check.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
For example, opcode like is equal. For example, it never happened like this. Okay, for this problem will never happen for this. You mean this?
It's giving me an error. I'm not sure why. I did the same thing.
So share your screen with the class. So class can implement it.
Oh wait, I'm using the not equal. Does it give you an error if you use the not equal?
It won't get a not equal. You know, it's a negation.
Yeah.
You are getting an error.
Yeah. Oh no, never mind. I got it. I was missing the second not equal. I was just it was yeah, I was being dumb.
So, Professor,
Go ahead.
are we simply just hard coding everything? There's going to be no inputs by the user?
Yes, yes. No, nothing is coming from the user. It's just everything is hard code. It's a simple assignment for just using the if then statement, if else statement.
All right.
So, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So how we choose to hard code for the operator? Are we just like, are we going to leave the operating code blank, or are we just going to do a bunch of if else statements and then we can just fill in the opcode as we choose for whatever specific symbol, whether we want to do addition, we just make opcode equal A.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And for example, opcode, if just like this, if the opcode is M, just do the multiplication. If the opcode is A, just do the addition. If the opcode is you should just do it in the in the most simplest way that you can imagine. Okay, do not put it in a complex way. Just do it simple.
Understand.
Quick question for you. So I wrote it as 4 if statements. Is that fine?
You use it 4 statements.
Yeah, so I wrote like if the code is equal to character A, do this. If code is equal to S, do this. If equals to M, do this. If equal to D, do this. But I tried putting if else statements and it gave me an error, so I just wrote it as 4 if statements.
Yeah, use that statement. It's good.
Okay. One more question. When it comes to subtracting and dividing, well, I guess especially when it comes to subtraction, do you want us to do like, does it matter like what one it is, or do you like? Because I just like did like variable 1 minus variable 2. Like, does that matter? Like the order in which we do it?
No, it doesn't matter because you are using the float, so we will have a negative number.
Okay.
So the one that has it done, please put a 1 for himself or herself, and share your screen with me so I can follow your results. Anyone done it?
I'll show you my screen. You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Throwing me to the fire. All right. I'm kidding. I volunteered.
Go ahead.
Okay, so here is my code. You are able to see it? So I have the 2 variables, the 2 values. I have the char for the opcode, and I initialized the result outside of the block statements. And so if the opcode is equal to M, it'll multiply. Otherwise, A add, S subtract, D divide, and then at the end of the block statement, it'll print out the result.
I also did it that way. I had an extra variable for result. So, yep.
Okay, put a 1 please for yourself in the assignment sheet. And yes, and other people.
How do we share the screen? Okay.
It's right next to mute.
Everyone who done the code, please share just the screen so we can go faster.
So everyone can click share
one at a time. One at a time.
Okay.
No.
I will wait.
Hold on.
Oh, is it me? Oh, I think it might be me, right? I think it's me. That's what I have. I did it differently. I didn't write like a different.
You're good. Just put the 1 value for yourself.
He just wants to look. He doesn't want you to explain it.
Okay, I feel bad. I'm sorry.
It's but we are running out of time. So the next one, this is the 3 people.
Wouldn't it
So
be easier if we just took a screenshot of our code and just submitted it into the
that will
into
be
the chat?
awesome. That will be awesome. Yeah, that will be better.
Yeah, why don't
Just
everyone just
screenshot. But I need no. Just please share your screen again with me. Okay, this is
Sure.
good. Okay, so look at here. You
Wait, share
just
screen or don't?
good. It's good. Okay, okay. Look at I don't know who's this.
This is Nathan
Who's
Catry.
Nathan? Okay, Nathan. Look at the Nathan's hierarchy. This session 03 HE7891 calculator engine. This is what I need, people. Okay, code like this. Yeah, I mean the packaging should be like this. And instead of putting session 00, just put the lecture 00. Just refactor it. It will be good. Can you refactor it, Nathan, for me?
Sure. Which one do you want me to refactor?
The session 03, the package name, I mean. Just right click on it, go to refactor, please, and rename it to lecture 03. Awesome. Refactor. Okay. You can see that the lecture 03 is changed, session 03 is changed to lecture 03 in the calculator engine code 2. Okay. So everyone should have the same hierarchy like Nathan. Okay, the next one, please.
Is that absolutely necessary?
Yes, it is necessary because we are going to push it in the GitHub, and we don't want to have conflict with our codes. Okay.
All right.
So it's the best way that I can distinguish your code together.
You mind putting that up again so I can take care of that? Someone.
Yes.
Oh, that's not me.
Okay. So please send your screenshot. In the meeting chat, so I can go further. I'm going further for the lecture. Okay.
Could you show us Nate's screen again? So I could. Is this Nate? Oh, this is Ian. Okay, that's cool though.
Yeah,
too.
I can. Whatever works.
I just have a quick question. How did you get your student ID in it? Am I losing my mind?
Here, I'll take the ball again. You
Just
mean
add a
here?
folder.
Yeah. So all I did is I right-clicked on
Oh,
lecture.
Okay, you made another package.
Yeah, a new package. ID.
Okay, cool.
And then
You just
when
threw
I
it
did
in?
that, just a new Java class.
Cool. Okay, that awesome.
So just to confirm, are we supposed to be taking screenshots and sending that via the chat or via email?
Chat.
Okay.
For today, the chat will be okay. So I will make another mechanism for assignments. So you will put a one for yourself, and you will send a screenshot. I will see the screenshot. If I see your access ID in the package there, I will see that it is yours. Okay, so I can make sure that this one is not a fake one. Okay. But I trust you people, okay? We just here to learn more. We are not here to punish anyone. Okay. Let's go further. Go ahead.
To a project.
Please volume up. We cannot hear you.
If I drag both classes into the session folder, it automatically renames the folder it like combines the two projects because there's nothing in session.
Yes,
Does that make
sense? Because you don't have any other session, you don't have any other access ID, your lecture 03 will be combined with your package, with your parent package. So you're good. It's okay.
For sure. All right.
So let me develop it for you. So we have 4 different operations. Okay. So the input is v1, is float, v1 and v2, and we have another one. So let's put it in the Java doc.
Your screen's not
Are you
on.
showing the screen?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me.
I got a quick question. Did you say you want us to put the one in the Google Excel for the lab too for today?
Yeah, you should just put a 1 on your assignment for the Google here.
Okay, so means this is the lab for today. We don't have another lab for today anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And we have a float v1. We have a character that is opcode. And the output will be operation results. Okay. The opcode is M, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So I have the add here. I develop it like this, else if. Again, opcode equal to, okay, here. I just put another if then else here. Else here. Again, in another else. I just put, look at here, we have the functions over here, okay? Ctrl Z, Ctrl C, V, X, V, subtraction, again, M, again, D, okay? So here, if the function is not working, so we should print something, okay? Else. Invalid operation. Error. But here, so we have the another value over here. That is a float. We have the results. For being more readable, you will take the results out of your input. So you will put an input here, and we will get the results output over here. Okay, and you will initialize the result as 0. So you won't get an N out of it. So here is the result. Result is equal V1, V2 is equal. I'm copying it, paste it, paste it. Instead of A, I will put plus, subtraction minus, multiplication star, division slash. So the problem, I'll enter. Okay, I have a value. I'll enter. Then plus val Okay. I have the subtraction, I have the multiplication, and the division. And so finally, I just system out the results. Again, I ask you to print the out here, the val1 and val2, and here we have the calculator engine. Okay, let's run it. So for addition, 10 plus makes 14. We have 14. 10 for 14. Change a addition to subtraction. Again, run it. It should be 6. Again, changing to multiplication, it should be 40. Now changing to division, it should be okay. I have an invalid operation. Why? Because I'm putting an input like division, I put in slash.
Hey, Professor, I have a question whenever you.
Go ahead.
So I see on the slides for this lab, it's just an orange screen that says demo and a picture of a calculator. In the interest of time, if we're going to be doing this during the 2-hour block, are all the labs just going to be like there's going to be no time to kind of follow the lab, because as the labs progress in difficulty, I can just see a lot of wasted time during class. Do you know what I'm saying or not?
Yeah, I know what you are saying, but do you think that it will be better to give you some notes over the labs or just doing it hands-on together?
I'm just, it's just crossed my mind initially that as the labs progressively get more difficult, it's going to also get progressively more difficult to explain in the 2-hour, and then also have the 2-hour block. I mean, if you're not concerned about it, that's fine. But it's just something I can envision being a roadblock.
Yeah, I can understand your concern. The other labs, they don't have the mechanism that we have in our class. Okay, we are all here the engineers. If we are not using the technology, it seems that we are doomed to not be an engineer at the end of the day. Okay, we are so little by little. I cannot give you all of the information. For example, in the first session, so little by little for this first session, I show you how to install the IntelliJ. For this session, I show you how to participate in the Google Sheet. For the next session, I'm going to show you how to participate in the GitHub. So with this mechanism, you will find out how to develop a software, how to put issues, how to get the bottlenecks, how to solve them all together. Okay. But for the previous lab that you have, for example, just for logical circuit, take it there. Okay. They don't have the infrastructure for software engineering, so they need some instruction. Okay, but if I give you some instruction for that, you just want to follow that instruction and you won't get any other errors. I need you to stuck in the problems. I need you to get some exceptions, and solve it with me instead of solving it with Google, because you don't know how to Google it in the right way. If we are going to Google it, I will Google it for you, so you will find out how to Google a problem we are going to confront. Okay, so I'm going to share all of my experience with you, and I'm looking forward for your experience too. So I think that it will be better for everyone in this class. but we can have like class instruction if you are suggesting too, but we won't do the other stuff like this, you know.
Right, for sure. I'm not saying give us the answers, but a lot of times with labs, you know, there's some general guidelines. You know, for instance, you open up Notepad and then you kind of told us what to do, but
yeah,
but I don't know if anyone else feel me on that, but I'll just we'll just see next time how it works. So
another opinion. So would you say the future lab is like we can demonstrate doing the demo over the if else over the example during the class, but I was saying the class total is over 30 or 33 over. But if we're saying everyone try to conform or try to do it, it's not everyone can catch up. I was saying, would you say the lab for us to do in outside the class and do next week or a few days after?
That will take so much time of you because you already have the assignments for your homework. Okay, so you doing that in the extra time that you are not in the class, that won't be fair for the students, I think. But for example, for better collaboration, I was thinking that for the better collaboration, you can see that here, when I put the code on the GitHub for all of the lab assignments, I will put a PDF of the question, so you will find out that what is the question, what is the input, what is the output, and what I want from you. So you will develop it in your own packages, and you will commit it on the Git. So in terms of that collaboration, we will have the questions, and we will have the answer for that question. The answer, I mean, the required answer. Okay. So this will go further because we are doing online. We cannot do everything like in the same time. So we can do it little by little. You know, teaching online is a little bit different with like to be physically with each other. So
when is when the assignment is posted? Is it once a week?
It will be once for the assignments, and for the projects, for the midterm project and the final project, it will be 2 weeks. I mean, the due will be for 2 weeks.
She means like when it'll be assigned? Will we be assigned one homework assignment per week or?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah, because you saying you were considering like that's too much for us if we decide the lab outside the class and we need to do lab and homework kind of the thing, because we meeting twice a week. I'm thinking about if either Tuesday or Thursday, if you want us to demonstrate during the class, can we spend like a half hour or 1 hour a week to doing the lab during the class? You know, you have lab time. You know how you have other classes, the same thing. Like I have a lab, the lecture for the first hour and a lab for the last hour, kind of the thing.
Yeah, I know, but that won't be a very hands-on course for you. You know, so the other classes, for example, think about the other instructors. They will give you like a lecture like this, and we'll go through all the lecture without giving you any demonstration of the lecture. So I can do it for you. I can go like I can teach you all of the software engineering like in the lectures. But if I give you some like questions from the things that I want you how to code it like me, you won't get the results like me. Why? Because you are not developing like me. And I want you to develop like me. I mean, not like me, like the best practices. But I can give you like this lectures type. But you know, if I give you like a homework assignment, that what I need, when I'm giving a hands-on class for you, my homework assignment won't be a regular homework assignment like the other instructors. So when I'm coding with you, I need you to code better than me. So it takes time for you to develop that questions. Okay, I need that. So, but if I give you like lectures like that and you confront with that type of question, you will be stuck in it and you will lose the grade. And I don't want to. But it's good if you like the lectures like that, I can do that for you too. It's okay.
I've really enjoyed the pair programming. This has been refreshing, and I think it's a much better way to handle the lectures.
I think so as
agree.
well. And
I like
maybe as the labs get longer, you know, if you don't finish it during the class time, you can submit the lab after class. Like there's an opportunity just to finish it a little bit later, submit it, but just follow along the best you can.
After the class, and put a 1 for yourself. You know, after the class, not for example 10 days after the class, but for example 1 hour after the class. And you submit your, for example, your screenshot for this lab, for example, and you put a 1 for yourself, so I can track you. It's good. It's not mandatory just like to develop it with me. I just want you to develop it, to know how to develop it. Okay. I think that we have 5 minutes. Let's go to the lecture so we can have like a little bit further. I'm giving you some little more things here. Okay. Oh my God. So it's better that not go further, I think. Okay, I will give the looping for you. So we have 3 different loops in the Java. We have I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Professor.
Go ahead.
I have a MacBook, and I was wondering which application I should use for the codes.
You should use the IntelliJ IDEA for MacBook. It's a community edition for MacBook too.
Oh, so this works for MacBook too?
Yeah, you should. If you just watch the first session, you can just go to IntelliJ IDEA's website and you can download it from there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay. So let's go to the do while loop and the for loop. We have 3 different loops. For the while loop, it will go repeatedly execute a statement as long as the condition is true. So it has 2 main points. The condition checked at the loop start. Okay. And the first statement of the loop, it will be the condition, and the statement may never execute too. So it means that if the condition is not true, all of the statements in the loop will not execute. And the convention is like this: the while, the condition, and the statement. It can have 1 statement, and it can have a block of statements. Take this as an example. We are going to calculate the factorial of a number. The required number is take the k value is the 5, and the factorial we're taking the factorial is 1. While the k value is more than 1, we are going to calculate the factorial like this. We are going to multiply the factorial with the k value, and then with the postfix operator, we will decrease the k value minus 1. And at the end of the loop, we will just print out the factorial.
I think you're sharing IntelliJ instead of the slides.
Oh my God. Okay, because I'm not saying that. Okay. Let me just do it here. The loop, while loop. Okay. Int factorial is equal 1. Okay. Here, so this is an example of while loop. We have the k value. We want to calculate the factorial of the 5 here, and we then develop a factorial variable here. We are using a while loop over here. We will multiply the factorial value with k value, then subtract minus 1 the k value, then bring the value of the factorial over here. Let's run it. Okay. the k value of 5, the factorial will be 120. So so instead of developing the for example this, the k value like this, I just use in a very like summarized way like this. Okay. We have another do while loop. It will repeatedly execute the statement as long as the condition is true. But the difference with the loop variable is that it will be executed at least one time. So the condition checked at the loop end, and the statement always execute at least one time. And take this, and the convention is like this: do the statement and while condition. This statement can be a block statement too, like this. I'm going to multiply the 5 to 2 each time till it reaches to 1 till it is less than 100. I take this as a result. Okay. Okay. Here is the last example. Do while and I will that is like 5. Okay. Do while I will is less than 100. Okay. I will times 2. This is in the I will. Equal to, and just print the I will. And okay. So you can see that, okay, the first time it was 100, 220, 10, 20 times 240 times 280 and times 160. So it is more than 160. So it's more than 100, but it still is not reaching the loop condition. So it will write the 160, then reach to 100, then the loop will be break out of the loop. I think it's enough for this session. We can continue from the for loop statement from the next session. I think if please make sure that you already signed the attendance for this lecture. And the lab assignment also. So
we only have one lab, right? Ourselves, or do you put it in, Professor?
We're supposed to do it.
Oh, I didn't know we were supposed to do it. And second thing, I have 2 classes that are actually overlapping on top of each other. It's overlapping for the lab. And I wanted to know, is it okay if we submit the lab a little bit late?
Some of the people already emailed me for retreat session. They have some, I think some mandatory class to be that should be attended. Three sessions are okay, but this class is the attendance for this class is mandatory. If it is giving you the answer, it's okay.
For lecture, I don't mind being there, but I'm just saying for lab, because our lab overlaps, because we have lab here on top of lecture. If we just
Okay, so you want to attend. If I let you to not attend to, like, for example, attend the lab, I shall like let everyone to not attend the lab. Well, you know, here is not fair, I think.
No, Professor, I don't mean not attend it. Like, give us more time. Like to submit it.
To submit it, yeah, it's okay. For submitting, is okay.
Thank you so much.
It's okay.
Do we have
as you know, as much as it is in the same day of the lab that we are doing, it is okay.
Hey, Professor.
Go ahead.
Since I showed you my screen for the lab 1, I don't need to post a screenshot. You already verify it, yes?
No, you are good.
Okay.
But if you just put a screenshot, it will be better so I can track it. So did you put a 1 for yourself?
I did. I put a 1 for myself. If you want me to put a screenshot, I can do it as well.
It will be better because, you know, I'm afraid that I'm going to miss you for that. If you put the screenshot, it will be better. Thank you.
All right, I just done it.
And the class is dismissed, everyone. If any question, I'm here for you.
Professor?
Oh, go ahead.
I have a question in terms of the concept of your labs. So if I understood correctly, you would, you know, do them on screen and we would just follow and kind of copy and try to improve on the code. Is this how you want it to be?
Sometimes I need you to practice. Yes, it's yes and no. Sometimes I need you to just mimic my code, to just know how to code that like that syntax. But for example, sometimes like this today, like the calculator engine, I want that you code it for me. Then I will code it for you again to know how to run the code from the first to the end. So it will be an amalgamation of both of them. Are you good?
And in terms of uploading it to GitHub, do we do that every day?
Yes. After that, after I publish the code on the GitHub for all of your lab assignment and your project will be published, will be pushed in the GitHub. Okay. So, but I didn't make the repository now. Hopefully for the next session, if I see the class is like on track with me, I will teach you how to use the GitHub first. Then we can go further.
So
Okay.
starting with the next class, we're going to be uploading all the labs that we do in the middle of class to that repository.
Yeah, that will be awesome. Don't you think? Don't you think so?
I prefer Dropbox.
Dropbox, you know, you cannot track it.
I'm joking, Professor.
You know, it has some like modification problem in the for the source controlling in the Dropbox. You know.
Yeah.
But,
sorry.
Go ahead.
Will you post a link to the Dropbox to the GitHub repository on the Canvas page so we have easy access?
Yes, I will send a link for you for all of the class, so you can just fork the GitHub repository, then you can develop with each other.
Wonderful.
I got a quick question.
Go ahead.
How we getting the feedback from every lab we submit during class? If I'm saying I did something wrong, but my code properly, but it might be not the same, maybe not the result you wanted to, or you want me to code more professional. I mean, how do I know? How can I get a feedback from you if we submit the lab during the class?
Yeah, you know, as much as you are coding like the code that we are doing in the class, you are good. Okay. So the first thing that it is the syntax that how you develop the code, because the way that you develop a code is the way that you are thinking. Maybe you are not getting the results, but you are doing a good job. So that's the good thing. So if you are not doing the good job, either you are get the result. This is just first time and the last time that you are getting the result. Maybe 10 times later you are getting the result too, but one time you will get stuck. What is important in Java developing is that you should know how to solve the problem in the best way. So when you are stuck in a code, you can just send it to your colleague and ask him or her that what's the problem with my code. But if your code is spaghetti, no one is going to help you, because they think that you're not a good developer, you're not using the best practice. So in this class, my emphasis will be the problem solving with the Java, meanwhile that I'm learning you how to use the syntax, how to use the best practices. Okay, you develop, everyone in this class developed the same code that I developed for you. This code was so simple, doesn't have any different. Okay, in a very simple job interview, someone comes to you and asks you that, okay, just develop a FizzBuzz project for me. It's a very good question, because different people with different type of experience will develop it differently. I can develop it with JUnit, class object-oriented, inheritance, many things, okay? But someone rookie can develop it with just a for statement. And no exception, no troubleshooting, no raising into the upper layers, nothing. So your difference with the other people in the job interviews will be these best practices. So practice this, and I can assure you that you are going to do a good job. The good thing, the achievement from this class for me will just that to teach some developers, okay? Not the students of the computer science or computer engineering or interdisciplinary people that are in this class. The good thing for me is that I'm teaching some people that are in love with programming and want to program in a real world. Okay, so anyone other question or?
Yes, for those of us that can't submit the lab in the session, where do we submit it after?
Where are you going to submit it? The lab assignments?
Yeah.
Your lab assignment will be pushed into the Git repository, so everyone has the same submission. And the date and time that you are submitting has a log record over the GitHub, so I can track that. So I'm teaching you how to use the GitHub. Then I'm going to teach you how to push your code over the GitHub.
Okay. Also, do we have labs in both Tuesday and Thursday?
Actually, we are doing lab from the first minute of the class to the end minute of it, I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So today is lab 1 in the spreadsheet.
Actually, today is not. Lecture 1-lab 1. Okay, it means the assignment 1 for lecture 3. And look at here. Lecture 3, lab 1. Lecture 3, lab 2. Maybe you have 2 different assignments. So for example, in IntelliJ, you will have, for example, here, the calculator engine, lab 1, lab 2. Okay, like this. So under your own, so you just put a comment at the top of it. For example, lecture 3, lab 1, but you are going to develop the code like this, calculator engine, like this, okay? lecture 03, lab 01, and please put your name above your code so we can have your codes, your beautiful names over here too. Thank you.
Well, I guess what I'm asking, we did lecture 3, lab 1 today. We did not do lecture 3, lab 2, correct?
Yes, you are right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I have to go, Professor. So I'm gonna head off now. Bye.
It's good. The class is dismissed. I already told you. Have a good one.
Okay.
Professor?
Thank you.
If anyone has a question, I'm here for you.
I have a question about do we have to use IDEA, or can I use like my own environment that I set up?
You can use your own environment that you are set up. I'm good with it. But I strongly recommend you to use the IntelliJ IDEA because you are going to be in the same track with the class, and we are going to teach you how to use everything in the IntelliJ IDEA. So this class is not just Java programming. It's somehow a very quick course for IntelliJ development too, integrated development environment too. You know. But
Okay.
it's
Sounds good.
good if you're good and like hands-on in the other environment. I'm good with it.
Okay.
Okay, so when I submitted my photo of my code, I did not put lecture 3 lab 1 as a header. Should I just resubmit or just leave what I have for the original submission for this time?
For today is good. I just give you another hint to how to code it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Professor, I just have a quick question for you.
What?
I was just wondering, are we going to have like weekly homework assignments that we will turn into you separately?
Sure, but you are going to upload it in the Canvas, and you will push your code in the GitHub too. So when you're done with your assignment, you will just push it in your code, right-click on your code, commit it, put a comment on it, and then upload it in the Canvas. So I have the track in the both sides. You know, some part of it's for the university, some part of it's for our development environment.
Okay, so I was just working on my GitHub now, and I just like made a new repository for Java. Would that be sufficient for you? And then I just make it public?
Actually, no. Actually, I'm going to build a repository, and everyone is going to contribute in that repository. Okay?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And should we expect a homework assignment on Thursday?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Hopefully, reach the syllabus. If you reach the syllabus and everyone is on track with me, I will assign a homework for the next week.
Okay. Wonderful. I think you're doing great. I feel bad that everyone was felt like it was very intense, but I think you're doing a great job. I'm actually a high school teacher right now, currently, so I'm teaching my students online as well, and it's a serious pain. So I think you're doing everything fine. I wouldn't change anything.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Kelly.
Yeah, it's tough to teach online, so I think you're doing a great job. So don't worry about it.
It's very good that we are developers and we have all of the technologies around us. But for example, think that we were in this physics department. What we are going to do for teaching the people how to program. All of these people are computer science people, and they are going to be on track with me so fast. But you know, if it wasn't like in this department, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. Believe me.
It'll work itself out. There's just a few bugs. It'll work itself out. It's going along fine, I think. So.
It's only the third day. You know, it's crazy. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, but little by little we are going together. Little by little, I'm adding something. So you know, if I tell you that I'm going to put all of the code on the GitHub at the first session, and you are going to assign everything online, and you are going to contribute with me, everyone was going to bother and I'm going to complain that no, it's not good. But little by little, when you teach it how you are doing to do it, it's very good. So we can do it together. And it's not good for just this class. It's just good. It's good for real time and the real world. When you are doing real time development, it's very awesome.
I look forward to it. I think that it sounds like a really good hands-on way to learn the programming. So I think it is something to look forward to.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
I had a question for you. One last one before I go. Do you have like maybe by the end of the semester put in Canvas like a list of books or blogs or YouTube channels that you would recommend that just get us in the mindset of thinking like a software developer, an architect rather than a programmer, that sort of stuff?
You mean, do I have any recommendation for YouTube channel like that?
Books,
Okay.
blogs, YouTube channels, things like that.
So we have like very big people over the development, like software architecture. I think the first one that comes to my mind is Martin Fowler. Let me show you.
Or maybe in Canvas you could put like a book reading list or something by the end of the semester, like something like that.
If I put it in Canvas, because it's out of the scope of this class.
Okay.
It won't be a very good thing. But this guy, Martin Fowler, most of our best practices in software engineering is coming from this guy. He's one of a kind, If you're just looking for some new thing over the architecture, microservices, refactoring, everything, this guy is the edge of the architecture. You should just follow him. And he has another book that I studied his book like multiple times, like 5 times. Software architecture. Software. It's like the Holy Bible of the architecture, like the CLRS for us.
Okay.
Yep. But for the further instruction, I just, believe me, because I'm coding from like 14, 15. I'm not the best practice to give you some hints that what should you read and what you shouldn't read, because I read so many things. And if something gives me some epsilon, I will appreciate it. Some people think that, okay, if someone is giving me some epsilon, is not good. They should give me a bunch of knowledge. But when you have so many things, your mind is going to build it upon. If you give that epsilon, to your mind, it will make a big chunk of new information because it's making a new relationship with it. Okay.
Definitely.
For example,
definitely.
Think that okay, I'm giving you some little thing about the GitHub, and you are thinking that, oh, I can put all of my projects on the GitHub like this. I can contribute my code, can work with my colleagues and like this. But for the best practice in Java development and the C# and the Python are different, but the skeleton are the same. If you are going to start like the structural pattern, the Martin Fowler book is awesome. Just go for his book, Software Architecture book.
Definitely. I'll definitely check him out. I appreciate the recommendation.
Anytime. It's good. So, any other question?
Oh, that's it for me. You have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. Have a good one. Bye.